All right, what's going on, guys? Hope you all are doing well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are today looking at the top 10 best pack-a-punched weapons in Vanguard Zombies. Now, just like Cold War, this is going to be continually updated throughout the year as more weapons get added and more like content, maps, and enemy types get added to the game. So the meta is certainly going to shift, but right now, as we currently have Anfang pre-season 1, this is going to be the top 10 best guns in the game as of right now. Now, these are going to be the best pack-a-punched weapons for like specifically Anfang right now, but as we go throughout the seasons and we get more like potentially even round-based maps and other experiences, this again meta may shift just a little bit, but I would say no matter what, these weapons are going to be solid choices overall for no matter what you're playing and when you're playing it. So before we get started, if you guys wouldn't mind dropping a thumbs up, it only takes a second of your time and it helps out the video tremendously. And of course, if you're new to the channel and want to see more zombies content, be sure to subscribe if you have not done so already. But with that being said, let's get into the top 10 best pack-a-punched weapons in Vanguard. So coming in today at the number 10 spot, we've got the PPSH. Now I would say that this is not nearly as good as the one featured in World at War. It's pretty similar to the Cold War PPSH for all intents and purposes, but it's got significantly higher, like, consistent damage output than almost any other SMG I've used, like, within its class. There are some SMGs that just have way better damage per bullet, but as far as consistency goes, I feel like the PPSH is the one that you're going to be using in Vanguard. And this gun in particular has a couple of great things going for it. Its base magazine is already extremely impressive, and you can change that through, obviously, your loadout attachments to make it even better, but you can also really notice a difference between the unpack-a-punched PPSH and at least just the single pack-a-punched one as well, where I feel like you can't really tell the damage output difference with some other weapons, especially the SMGs and also pistols. The PPSH completely glows up. This gun really excels at anything like up close and especially engaging with a lot of enemies at one time, which if you're playing Anfang high rounds or whatever else in Vanguard Zombies, then you're probably going to end up playing a lot of that, but it doesn't do that great against armored enemies, specifically the machine gun bosses. Even if you hit the critical point and you've got like your dead shot fully upgraded, it will struggle a little bit, especially at a range if you're not like literally dead set close to them. But certainly, all in all, not a bad choice of a weapon, especially when pack-a-punched, and it can pretty much handle anything you'll be doing so far in Anfang. Coming up next at our number 9 spot is going to be the STG-44. Now, this is the base assault rifle that you're most likely going to begin Vanguard Zombies with. I would say 90% of people, this will probably be the first gun they use in this mode, and for good reason. It's actually very solid, and especially when kitted out with certain attachments, it can be made even better. There's some ones that will increase the damage and just the sheer damage range. The STG is far better at dealing with like a variety of circumstances, where the PPSH is, much better at dealing with up close hordes of enemies. STG is a little bit maybe less so than that, but can deal with the armored enemies from farther away, and taking out bosses from somewhat of a distance is not a problem for the STG, but it also can handle itself up close too. Now, it can be understated how crucial headshots are in Vanguard Zombies. Like, if you thought Cold War was like, yeah, you have to get headshots, do you remember that custom games rule in Black Ops 2 Zombies where only headshots counted, and if you hit the body, like, no damage would be given to the zombies? That's kind of what it feels like in this game a lot of the time, and the STG, thankfully, is a headshot machine. If you're hitting the body a lot, to be honest, the STG might feel a little bit mediocre to you, but if you're very consistent at landing headshots on pretty much every single zombie you encounter, then you'll be just fine. Like, it's kind of a huge difference in the time to kill, but either way, the STG is a phenomenal pack-punched weapon. But coming in at number 8, just above that, is going to be the double barrel shotgun, and I had used this in Vanguard Zombies right after the STG, and I was convinced already that the double barrel would have been the best gun in the game, because everything else like really didn't seem to have the same amount of like kill power, but I was dead wrong. Now, don't get it twisted, the double barrel is on this list for a reason, and specifically this really changes its functionality when you pack-a-punch it, because instead of having 2 shells like, per before you have to reload, you will get 6 in most cases, and that makes a big difference with this weapon, just literally single packing it, and it does really a ton of damage, like, all things considered. Now, however, I will say it's hard to do consistent damage, especially to boss enemies, because of the absolutely insane amount of kick it has. And that's a factor we have to contend with in Vanguard that we really didn't have to in previous games, and even Cold War, is we really need to, like, sort of lock down recoil control, and double barrel shotgun is pretty much the antithesis to being able to control your weapon. It's absolutely crazy. Even for a shotgun standard, like, it's a little bit difficult to manage, and I might sound like I'm making this out to be a bad weapon. It absolutely isn't, because it's on this list and it does like an incredible amount of damage, but even compared to some of the other shotguns, I would say it's lowest tier, but it still outdoes like most of the general weapons weapons you can run thus far in the game. As other stuff gets added, it could get phased out, who knows, but the double barrel is still a really good weapon overall. So moving on, and coming in at the number 7 spot is going to be the Bar Assault Rifle. And this one is like particularly interesting to me because I feel like it's the STG, but like with a higher risk reward portfolio, if that makes sense. So I think with the Bar, you're going to be significantly more rewarded for hitting headshots, but also a little bit more punished for hitting body shots. The biggest downside to the Bar is its ammo capacity, and its magazine size really isn't anything too special, and you're going to be reloading a lot. Now, the good thing is with Speed Cola alongside Fast Mags, it's a pretty manageable reload, I would say, and you really don't have that much downtime, but like, to be honest, you aren't going to want to be missing criticals at all because you only have usually 20 to work with in the magazine, and every single bullet counts. Probably the most specialized out of the assault rifle class right now in Vanguard Zombies, and I'm just gonna make a prediction. I expect this to be one of the weapons that stays high in the meta throughout the entire season of this game. Even as other assault rifles get added, I expect the Bar to be like pretty optimized, and eventually it'll be a thing that you just really don't play without, or it'll always be a solid choice whenever you jump in. So I would say for the most part, it's worth ranking up this gun, get attachments for it, and really understand how to use it and where its strengths and weaknesses are. It does not do extremely well at killing lots of enemies at one time, but it's really good for like crowd control and medium to long range engagement. So I'm a big fan of the Bar, and like I said, I do expect this to last very long in the meta. We'll have to wait and see, but it's a really fun gun to play as well. Just like stats aside, it's a really enjoyable weapon to play, and it's satisfying. As far as boss enemies go, from my experience, this is one of the weapons that kills them the quickest. Now, unfortunately, by the time you kill a machine gun boss enemy, you don't have that much ammo in the magazine left to deal with the zombies that are likely still around you. But if you're playing with teammates, or you have another secondary that could deal with that problem as well, then you shouldn't have any issues to worry about. But anyways, yeah, the Bar has come in at number 7. Great weapon in Vanguard. Anyways, moving on, coming in at the number 6 spot is the Gracie Auto Shotgun. This one I thought could potentially be the best in the game, but after playing around with all of them, I would say this sits probably mid-tier in the shotgun class, but overall very good in the overall weapons ranking, so it's definitely at number 6. But the cool thing about the shotgun is it performs pretty much like the Street Sweeper in Cold War. For all intents and purposes, it's basically pointless to aim down the sights with this weapon because also of its insane amount of kick and the fact that it's full auto, so there's literally no way you can control this. You really want to focus on having attachments that extenuate this weapon's hip fire. Critical kills are still what you're going to be aiming for ideally with the Gracie Auto, but like I said, it's nearly impossible to execute that if you're trying to aim down the sights the whole time. So have weapons that make the hip fire nice, and you should be able to get critical kills no problem. It's a lot of fun to use as well. Not the most effective compared to other shotguns, but nonetheless a very, very solid choice. Coming in at the number 5 spot, though, is a weapon that really thoroughly surprised me. This is the Type 11 LMG. It probably has single-handedly the worst iron sights out of any gun in COD possibly ever. So without a doubt, under any circumstances when you're using the Type 11, you have to at least have some kind of optic on it. Iron sights are just not an option, but nonetheless, the gun is extremely effective, especially at critical kills, and the reload time isn't too shabby compared to other LMGs in its class. I'm thinking like specifically the MG42, it just doesn't even compare. This plays a lot like, I would say, a cross between an LMG and maybe even an assault rifle. If I had to compare it to anything in Cold War, probably the Stoner 63 would be the best like one-to-one comparison. It's a really solid choice for dealing with hordes of enemies because of its larger magazine size. It also melts boss enemies at a range, and especially if you can land those criticals, you'll have literally no issue shredding through any enemy type like butter. I just sort of like the Bar, I feel like this is going to be one of those guns in the game that really sticks with the meta. So I would say this is also worth ranking up and finding out like a really good set of attachments for. Definitely, you know, catered to your personal playstyle, obviously, but definitely give the Type 11 a try, because at the end of the day, it may not be a gun that crosses your eye twice because it looks so strange and it doesn't look like it'd be effective, but it is certainly a sleeper pick in Vanguard. Moving on, though, to take our number 4 spot is going to be the NZ41 assault rifle. Again, very similar to the last weapon where it's a sort of strange looking gun, but as far as practicality, this is, I would say, the best cross between the Bar and the STG. It's got the same like overall kill power as the Bar, but doesn't have the weaknesses that that weapon does, where magazine size significantly holds it back. The NZ41 doesn't really have that issue at all, and also the consistency, because of its very low recoil, makes this extremely effective in zombies where you're going to have to deal like consistent amounts of DPS in the same spot. gun genuinely shocked me because on paper, it doesn't look like it would be all that effective, but once you play with it in game, you'll see exactly what I mean. And I think this will be the weapon, probably the like go-to assault rifle, if not something else. What it all comes down to is just that extremely lethal critical or headshot kill power, and I feel like this excels more than almost any other assault rifle right now in Vanguard. It could get eclipsed by something else as we go on throughout the season, but if you're looking for something solid to play with right now, it's definitely going to be the NZ41. You unlock it fairly late in the game as far as like level wise, so it may not be the first one you can play with, but once you get it, certainly rank it up. Anyways, coming in at the number 3 spot is the combat shotgun, and for all intents and purposes, this is the Cold War Howler, and I would say maybe even a little bit better than Cold War's Howler for at least the purposes that a shotgun like this should be used in. Because of the way Vanguard Zombies currently works, you have less volume of zombies generally speaking, and at least so far in Anfang, and you have them at least a little bit more beefy and heavier HP wise. And the thing with the combat shotgun is it's the most effective at dealing with that particular circumstance. Critical kills with the combat shotgun, I believe, are always a one-hit kill to the head at any round, even at the health cap. So if you need something that just one-shots zombies reliably throughout any high rounds you might be playing, then the combat shotgun is certainly going to be one of the go-tos. Now, it does have a few downsides. It doesn't have the best fire rate, which again isn't the worst thing in the world, especially considering how Vanguard works at the moment. It can be used in a variety of ways, and it really is just so applicable to anything you need to do right now. I expect that if Vanguard brings some like more classic survival maps, this will also still be one of the more dominant guns in the game. But even after Anfang gets updated and we have a main Easter egg and we have more objectives to do, you're going to see this stay above the meta as easily one of the best guns in the game, if not the best for some situations. But other than that, honestly, just side note, it's a lot of fun. You can really feel the weight and like the beef and the power behind this weapon. It's incredibly satisfying to use, even more so than Cold War Tower, I would say. The combat shotgun, amazing pack-a-punch weapon in Vanguard right now, and I expect this to be dominant throughout the rest of the year. But anyways, moving on and coming in at our number 2 spot, this one is going to have to go to the Itsra Burst assault rifle, and I actually hadn't been using this one for a long time until recently, and I realized how much this gun mirrors the M16 in Cold War. And I'm making all these comparisons because I feel like as far as the meta goes and how the game plays, it's going to be very similar to what you should be running. And if you want a gun that feels like the M16, it's certainly going to be this. Now, the cool thing is this is a 4-round burst weapon, and the Covenant, the deadly accurate one, which deals successive damage with each landed shot, is absolutely ludicrous with this weapon. Fully upgraded Deadshot is a must-have, and if you really want to max out on the potential that this weapon has, you need to be playing with it. Otherwise, it's not going to feel quite as good, but it does deal with like machine gun boss enemies at a range very quickly, and I feel like that's such an underrated thing in Vanguard. You can get close with a shotgun and still deal with them, but if you want to take them out from far away, it's honestly not bad to pair with something like another shotgun in its class. It's so strange to me that this weapon technically isn't like a tac rifle in this game, as that's definitely what it feels a little bit more like, but it is technically an assault rifle, but a lot of times it doesn't behave like one. However, I still do recommend that you rank it up and try it out. You also absolutely need an optic with this weapon because the iron sights really aren't great. Even something with a little bit of magnification can really go a long way to help you deal those successive shots, and it's pretty easy to control, so I think you guys will like it a lot. Alright, fellas, but finally coming in at our number 1 spot on this list, the best pack-punched gun in Vanguard Zombies. Like, if you've been paying attention to the meta, you're gonna know what this one is. This is the Ironhorn Revolver. This weapon is something else. See, I would make a comparison immediately to something in Cold War, like maybe the Gallo, but even then, I feel like this gun is in its own league. It doesn't have the same, like, damage per shot that the combat shotgun does, but it doesn't matter because it essentially has the same fire rate as the Gracie auto. It has this almost the same damage as the double barrel and or the combat shotgun, but it basically gets rid of all the weaknesses. Like, it's absolutely unreal. It's a literal ammo dumpster. Like, I don't understand how much DPS this thing actually puts out, but if you haven't used it in game, then I strongly recommend this should be, like, first and foremost the weapon you rank up and probably carry with you if you're going to be playing high runs. You can use a secondary alongside to obviously get rank and get attachments for those, but if you want a gun with good kill power and virtually no weaknesses, then this is your gonna be go-to pick. To be honest, I will be very surprised if at any point during Vanguard's life cycle some gun goes and eclipses the Ironhorn Revolver Revolver because I just don't see it happening based on how good the gun is right now. But nonetheless, it is a lot of fun as well, not only in addition to being just good. But at the end of the day, after stacking all the guns against each other and pack-a-punching them and really seeing how effective they are, this weapon has to take the spot at the top of the hill right now. The Ironhorn Revolver is the best pack-a-punched gun right now in Vanguard Zombies. So anyways, guys, that is going to be my list for today. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're brand new, and let me know what you think about it down below in the comment section. Are there any other pack-a-punch weapons that you feel like should have been on this list? Any sleepers that maybe I didn't give enough credit to? Definitely let me know down below. But I'm going to be updating these sort of videos as we go throughout the season and as more guns get added. And also, we're going to go over more specifically some loadout videos soon once I have and are able to test all these attachments. So definitely stick around for those. But remember to subscribe if you're also brand new around here. And I do stream zombies over on Twitch. I would love for you to come hang out over there. Link to that is in the description. I'd love to see you sometime. Come say hi. It's a great place to be. But have a good rest of your day, guys. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy and peace out.